under the chandeliers of the Samara Academic Opera and Ballet House, a venue built for symphonies and sweeping arias. The opening bell of IBA.PRO 12 rang with a different kind of music. On November 6, 2025, the velvet curtains of fine art gave way to the raw rhythm of fists and footwork as Igor Sverichenkov of Russia and Mardashay Kuvesa of the Democratic Republic of Congo prepared to write their own story. The crowd buzzed with curiosity, aware they were witnessing more than a routine bout. This was the IBA.PRO experiment in motion. Longer rounds, no headgear, no amateur safety net, and no guarantees. Kuvesa, the veteran traveler who had fought across Africa and beyond, entered first, shoulders loose, eyes alert, absorbing the unfamiliar European atmosphere. He carried experience like armor, forged over years of professional battles. Some won, some lost, all survived. Then came Sverichenkov, undefeated, sculpted by Russia's rigorous amateur system, a two-time national champion stepping once more into new territory. This six-round test was not just about victory, but about transition, about whether amateur brilliance could stretch and breathe in the pro-style distance. As the referee called them together, the contrast was clear: youth and pedigree against mileage and guile. When the bell sounded, Kuvesa immediately went to the body, digging with intent, announcing that he would not be overawed by reputation or setting. Sverichenkov answered with a crisp, authoritative jab, sharp enough to snap heads and silence questions. From the opening exchanges, it was clear this fight would not be reckless chaos, but a thinking man's duel, shaped by angles, timing, and the slow accumulation of control. As the first round unfolded, the tempo settled into a measured but purposeful rhythm, each man probing for patterns and weaknesses. Kuvesa's punches traveled a longer route, often dipping toward the body before returning to guard, a pendulum-like motion born of habit and survival. He jabbed from the ropes, slid laterally, and tested Sverichенkov's patience with steady, honest work. But the difference in speed was unmistakable. Sverichенkov's jab cracked like a whip, fired straight from the shoulder and back again before Kuvesa's counters could fully form. He doubled it, tripled it, mixed chest and body before finishing upstairs, constantly changing the picture in front of his opponent. Midway through the round, a left hook from the Russian landed clean, drawing a murmur from the crowd, while Kuvesa answered with a solid hook to the body that reminded everyone he was no passenger. The exchanges grew sharper, the space between them shrinking and expanding as footwork dictated the dance. By the closing seconds, Sverichenkov was measuring distance with quiet confidence, finishing the round behind that educated left hand, while Kuvesa returned to his corner knowing he was competitive, but also aware that precision was beginning to outweigh volume. The second round continued in similar fashion, Kuvesa's experience showing in his willingness to absorb and respond. Sverichенkov's class evident in his economy. Jabs met jabs, body shots were answered with clean counters, and neither man panicked. Yet slowly, almost imperceptibly, the balance tipped. Each clean connection from Sverichenkov seemed to carry more authority, more consequence, hinting that this contest might be decided not by courage alone, but by the quality of the blows that landed last. The third round marked a subtle turning point, the moment where momentum began to lean more decisively toward the Russian. Early in the frame, Sverichenkov let his hands go in a sudden burst, a compact combination capped by a sharp left hook that briefly disorganized Kuvesa's defenses. It wasn't a knockdown, but it was a statement. Kuvesa, brave and composed, continued to press forward, still working the body, still searching for a way inside, but his punches now looked heavier, his reactions a fraction slower. Sverichenkov, by contrast, seemed to grow into the distance, his amateur conditioning translating smoothly into this longer format. He mixed short hooks and right hands over the top, snapping Kuvesa's head back whenever the Congolese fighter dipped low. The risk of bodywork became apparent as counters found their mark, especially when Kuvesa's jab took the longer route home. The crowd sensed the shift, applauding each clean sequence from the hometown fighter. Yet, Kuvesa refused to wilt, answering with flurries that showed heart, if not equal impact. As the round closed, Svirichenkhov's punches carried more pop, more finality, while Kuvesa's effort spoke of resilience rather than dominance. The fourth round pushed both men into unfamiliar waters for Svirichenkov, his first time beyond 3 rounds in this setting, but he handled it with maturity. Moving on his toes, circling the ring, he controlled space, countering over Kuvesa's low jab and spinning neatly off the ropes. Kuvesa continued to bob and weave, showing flashes of craft, but the Russian's timing and balance increasingly dictated the terms. By the end of 4, the story was clear. Kuvesa was still in the fight, but Svirichenkov was writing it. Round 5 introduced a new wrinkle as swelling and redness appeared around Svirichenkov's left eye, a reminder that even controlled fights leave their marks. Briefly switching stances, he hinted at caution, perhaps protecting the injury, perhaps simply adding another layer of complexity. Kuvesa's corner urged him forward, telling him this was his time, and he responded with increased activity, pumping the jab, stepping in and out, and scoring to the body with renewed urgency. For moments, his persistence paid dividends, as Svirichenkov leaned back, slipped shots, and countered in measured bursts rather than extended exchanges. But when openings appeared, the Russian struck decisively, firing crisp 2- and 3-punch combinations that snapped Kuvesa's head back and reaffirmed control. The veteran's heart was undeniable. He never stopped trying to solve the puzzle in front of him. Yet each time he reached, Svirichenkov found him, often with the last word in the exchange. The 6th and final round carried a sense of inevitability, though not of resignation. Kuvesa pressed on, digging to the body, showing pride and professionalism in every step, while Svirichenkov boxed smartly, choosing his moments, landing a solid final right hand that punctuated his performance. As the final bell sounded, the audience rose in appreciation, not just for the likely winner, but for the honesty of the contest. Both men had given what they had, one with skill and structure, the other with resolve and experience. When the scorecards were read, the unanimous decision for Igor Svirichenkov came as no surprise, but it was greeted with respect for both corners. The Russian remained undefeated on the IBA.PRO stage, his transition from elite amateur to extended professional-style bouts looking increasingly seamless. Under the guidance of his coach, Vladislav Nikitin, he had shown patience, adaptability, and the ability to carry power and precision across 6 demanding rounds. For Kuvesa, defeat did little to tarnish his reputation. In his first contest on European soil, he proved himself a seasoned, composed operator who never backed down, never hid, and never stopped competing. The swelling above Svirichenkov's eye and the fatigue etched into both fighters' faces told the real story of the night. This was a genuine test, not an exhibition. As highlights, replayed on the screens, jabs snapping, hooks digging, counters landing in perfect rhythm, the significance of the bout became clearer. This was exactly what IBA.PRO was designed to showcase. Fighters stepping outside comfort zones, measuring themselves under new conditions, and growing through the experience. In Samara, inside a theater built for drama, Igor Svirichenkov and Mardokhei Kuvesa delivered a quiet, compelling narrative of ambition, endurance, and respect. It may not have ended in a stoppage, but it ended with clarity, one man moving forward with momentum, the other with dignity intact, both having contributed a meaningful chapter to the evolving story of the IBA.PRO stage.